Mortal Kombat 1 just had a balance update, so today we're going to talk about it to make sure that you're also up to date. If you appreciate balance patch videos like this, then please show your support with a like down below and also share this video with a friend to make sure they're up to date as well. We all need to be combat ready, so without any further ado, let's cover the patch notes. First up, we have Reptile, fixed damage scaling on Force Ball when not enhanced. Good, so hopefully this means the nerf to Reptile is gone. For anyone not aware, maybe you just don't play Reptile, he got accidentally nerfed in a recent update. That's right, it was unintentional, or at least that's what most players believe, and it looks like that suspicion has been confirmed. Because if the Force Balls have their damage scaling reverted, then that should mean the combo damage is back to normal and does a ton of damage like it should. It's definitely not a big update for Reptile to be sure, but it does confirm that NetherRealm is at least trying to fix the mistakes they made in a recent update. Next up, we have Peacemaker. This guy was all over Final Kombat, so it makes sense that he was gonna catch some nerfs. First up, we have Human Torpedo. The regular and enhanced version are now high attacks, which means you can duck under them. This change I think was very good because if you watch the tournaments, many players were just spamming this move like crazy and then keeping Peacemaker safe with a cameo attack, which made the attack a bit too strong in my opinion because there was no risk and a decent reward. For anyone not aware, Human Torpedo is unreactable. You can't see it coming. So for comparison, just think about Sub-Zero's slide in Mortal Kombat 11 and it being safe every time the opponent went for it and they just spammed it all the time as a result. That's what Peacemaker pros were doing at tournaments, right? Just abusing the move like crazy, and now that's no longer possible because you can just duck under it. But next up we have health. That's right, Peacemaker's health is now 650 instead of 700, and as a result he's now easier to kill, which I do think is an okay change, but believe it or not, that's the only two nerfs that Peacemaker got, and I'm not sure if it's enough, because his teleport is still too strong in my opinion. For anyone not aware, it does 5% damage on block. Even if you do an up block, it still does 5% damage. Or in other words, if you're low on health and Peacemaker does the teleport, you're just dead because it's almost impossible to avoid and it still does crazy chip damage. And very similar to Human Torpedo, with the right cameo and proper timing, this teleport can be safe. So not only crazy chip damage and tracks the opponent's location, but it's also safe. Which is one more thing that I definitely believe could have been nerfed, but instead we got reduced health. And real quick, I want to go on a mini rant because this is one reason I don't like when fighting games give characters different health values, because sometimes the developers use it as a crutch, and instead of addressing the real issues and altering the attacks themselves, they just reduce the character's health or give the character more health and then call it a day. I am not a fan of this balance practice, and I think that most characters in a fighting game should all have the same health with a couple of exceptions. Like Zangief in Street Fighter, for example. He needs more health because he's slower, has a bigger hitbox, he does not have any fireballs, you get the idea. He needs more health to get in. And then for the opposite example, you have Akuma with below average health, and that's meant to balance out how many crazy attacks he has. Akuma pretty much has every single attack in the game, and as a result, to make the character more fair, he has the lowest health. But when it comes to Peacemaker, I don't think he falls into either of these categories. Changing his health does not really address the core issues with the character, in my honest opinion. But next up, let's talk about Homelander because they did it. NetherRealm did the thing that nobody wanted them to do. The flight cancel glitch is gone. That's right, if you want to flight cancel more than once in a combo, it's going to cost meter from here on out, which is unfortunate. It means the combos are way less swaggy and also do less damage too. Now with that being said, don't freak out because there are still good damage combos with Homelander. Even after this nerf, he's still getting like 35-36% damage for no meter, and then if you want to spin the bar, he's getting 40%, maybe a bit over, which is fine and well and good I suppose. But at the same time, now that Homelander's combo damage is nerfed, I'm worried that players are just gonna fall back on his zoning and just play keep away the whole time. And believe it or not, the mix-ups have been nerfed a little bit too for Homelander, because now if you do a jump attack and the opponent blocks it, you can't cancel into flight. That's right, flight cancel only works on hit now. At least when it comes to jump-in attacks, you can no longer do flight cancel if the jump-in attack is blocked. And after that, most of these changes are just quality of life fixes. The hurt boxes are better, the attacks are more consistent, the combos feel a bit more consistent. You get the idea, it's nothing crazy. But then we have the parry, otherwise known as Dirty Trick. This attack got nerfed and buffed at the same time, which some players call a burf, but allow me to explain. 7 different attacks from various characters can no longer be parried by Dirty Trick. I'm gonna put them on screen so you can study these moves and practice for yourself. These attacks can no longer be parried, and before the update, they could be parried. And as a result, Dirty Trick is a bit weaker, but if we scroll down, there's these other attacks attacks that could not be parried before, but after the new update, you actually can parry them with Dirty Trick. Once again, I'll put them on screen. 9 different attacks from various characters can now be parried by Dirty Trick. So once again, it's a buff and a nerf at the same time, otherwise known as a burf when it comes to Homelander's Dirty Trick parry, which definitely does seem confusing at first glance, but if you want to understand this parry a bit better, it's meant to only work on punches and kicks and jumping punches and jumping kicks. So if you're playing Homelander and your opponent attacks with a gunshot or a projectile or uses water to attack you, something like that, you likely can't parry it. Because once again, it's meant to work on regular punches and kicks and not weapon-based attacks or projectiles. You get the idea. And that's the main change that's happening with this update to the parry. I think NetherRealm just wanted to make it a bit more consistent. But oh boy, next up we have the cameo fighters, and Cyrax has been reverted. That's right, his helicopter attack no longer costs half a bar. Instead, it's back to costing a full circle of cameo meter every time you do the attack. Or in other words, if you do something unsafe with your character and want to use Cyrax to save your butt, it's gonna cost an entire bar just like it did in the past. So if any Sonic Fox conspiracy theorists are watching this video, then you can breathe easily because the change has been reverted. I still don't think that Sonic Fox is the reason this change happened. I believe it was a complete accident because the coders at NetherRealm are not the best. I'm not trying to be a hater, but they make a bunch of mistakes all the time, and I think the Cyrax buff was an unintentional coding error. But thankfully now it's been reverted, which means Cyrax is not going to be a top 2 cameo character anymore, and I think that's good. But next up we have Chameleon, hands down the best cameo character in the game, who I personally do think is deserving of some nerfs, and she got a couple. First up we have the ball roll, which is only possible in the Melina form, reduced pushback on the first 2 hits of ball roll, and slightly reduced the pushback on block after the last hit. Okay, so all this means is the ball roll is easier to punish when you block it, which it already was punishable, but now it's even more punishable on block, which is definitely a good change because this attack is unreactable. It's an overhead, it's meant for mix-ups. You can replace any low with this ball roll and it becomes unreactable, and it also starts combos if the mix-up is successful. So definitely a very powerful attack and did need to be more punishable on block. However, that being said, NetherRealm has not removed the bug. For anyone not aware, ball roll will still start combos even after Chameleon armors through an attack, which is not possible for any other cameo character in the game. For everybody else, if they armor an attack, they don't get a full combo. They still hit the opponent, they just don't get a full combo follow-up, but Chameleon does for some reason. And that glitch is still in the game. NetherRealm has not removed it. However, they did nerf Chameleon's health. She now has only 250 health instead of 300, so a slight health nerf, which once again is good, but if I was to give my own opinion, I think it should be minus 100 just like Movado. Chameleon is that good. And believe it or not, that's all the changes for Chameleon. That's all she got. Glaive Toss is still +3 on block, and also the Jade damage glitch is there as well. So Chameleon is definitely still one of the best cameo characters, if not still #1 in the game. These nerfs were definitely not enough in my opinion. But next up, let's talk about Janet Cage, because her combo damage has been reduced when using the hop punch or the hop skip punch, which once again I think was a good change because despite this character having so many attacks and different things you can do, pretty much every player was just abusing her hop punch and the hop skip punch to extend combos or combo after throws or combo after lows. You get the idea. It's a really good move to be sure, and after this update it does reduce your combo damage a little bit, but honestly it's not that much. For an example, I have Li Mei on screen. Here's a combo before the update and then a combo after the update, and as you can see the damage difference is not that big of a deal. Or in other words, to put it a different way, Janet Cage is still going to be a very good cameo in Mortal Kombat 1. She is still top 3. Alright everyone, there you have it. Every change that happened in the recent update for Mortal Kombat 1. As you can see, most of these changes were nerfs, but there were some subtle buffs here and there. In my honest opinion, I don't think these changes went far enough, and when Takeda does finally get here, I hope there's even more balanced changes to the roster. But as you all know, I love making these videos interactive, so let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. How do you feel about this update? Do you think NetherRealm went far enough, or did they not make enough changes and the game still needs some fixing in your opinion? Like I keep saying in all my videos, I truly do read each and every comment, so grab that keyboard and make your voices heard. Thanks for watching everyone, and I hope you enjoyed. If you did, please leave a like down below, it helps the channel out a ton, and then finish that combo by subscribing and ringing that bell so you never miss any future videos. Make sure to come back next time, and as always, stay underdogs.